Alright, so like I was talking about my, when will we ever see a comic book manga crossover, I wanted to talk about, basically, like I said before, I wanted to talk about my Spider-Man, Big in Japan story. However, I have since yesterday, I've actually done a complete retooling of the story. Like, I've done everything today, done nothing but today but retool this entire story. So, basically I've retooled it. Actually, this whole idea was actually retooled to be a Tenchi Muyo, Future Foundation crossover. And I've actually got a pretty okay plot so far as I'm going. What it's about, basically, is, this basically takes place right after, the first story arc of Future Foundation. What happens is that there's a new billionaire, a young billionaire in Tokyo who's managed to create a machine. So he claims he's in the works of trying to use a new machine to end world hunger, a device that will help end world hunger globally. The problem is that he didn't build it. He stole it from Washu. Like I said, Future Foundation Tenchi Muyo crossover, and Washu is the brains of the outfit in the Tenchi Muyo group. In fact, she's actually known as the smartest being in the universe. So Washu is pissed, nonetheless, that someone has stolen something from her, and she wants it back. And she'll do anything to get it back. In fact, she even gets the entire all the girls and even Tenchi to basically say, "We're like it or not, we're going to go to Tokyo and break down the doors and take back what's ours." The problem being is that this guy, actually, the billionaire. The billionaire in question has also asked Reed Richards to help him, help him make modifications on this device that he claimed to have invented. So, as a way of he brings the whole Future Foundation there, and, basically also his PR. He wants not only Reed Richards' mind, but also the PR of what was once known as the Fantastic Four there. However, that thing is not only the guy doesn't want it just for ending world hunger. What it's actually going to do with this weapon, once he's done modifying it and manipulating Reed Richards, he's going to use it for spreading a global toxin around the world and poison a majority of the world globally. At least killing what he wants is basically the weak to die off, and he'll rule the strong. He's basically kind of like Apocalypse. He wants the strongest to survive. So yeah, and he even uses the Future Foundation when Washu and the rest of them, when Tenchi and the rest of them actually attack head on this guy's building. So basically, it starts off as a classic classic battle, then team up. That's as far as I've gotten so far with this. I also want this. The other thing is that during all this, Reed and the rest of the team leave on Johnny's birthday, and Sue's already lamenting that she doesn't want to leave and not celebrate Johnny's birthday. But they leave, and they're in Japan, and Sue is just very upset about the whole thing in general. Now, I'm actually gonna add a lot of adversity to the team, since they're. Now, I should also mention, since I've been kind of scatterbrained about this whole thing, like I said, this has just been an original story about Spider-Man meeting random characters in Japan, anime characters in Japan, being completely retooled into something else. That has really thrown me off. Now, one of the things I want to mention is that these guys aren't going to like each other very much. Both these teams are not going to be all friendly. They're just going to team up for the sake of teaming up. One thing that I want to add is that adversity. Also, I want to have some comedic humor to it. I mean, let's face it. when the Tenchi crew meets the Future Foundation for the first time, they're going to actually be not only amazed because they've heard about all these stories of these great superheroes, but be kind of interested in how they're actually like, they comment on the weird their costumes, like, we have superpowers and we don't really have much costumes, and Ben and the rest of them are going to be like, well, what are you wearing? And they're just going to say, oh, these aren't superhero costumes, these are our space costumes, these are uniforms. And also, the other reason is, like, why do I want to cross over Future Foundation and Tenchi Muyo? A lot of you guys are going to ask. Well, think about it. Tenchi Muyo has a lot of elements of Fantastic Four. Time travel, space monsters, cloning, cosmic threats, spiritual monsters, all sorts of things that, more or less, back in the old Silver Age, and even in Jonathan Hickman's run of Fantastic Four and some in Future Foundation, the Future Foundation is kind of guilty of doing the same thing too. Now, Tenchi Muyo, I thoroughly believe, has a lot of Fantastic Four element base to it. Like, it probably got a lot of its inspiration from the Fantastic Four. So it only makes sense that these guys would team up. Now, originally, I actually wanted Fantastic Four and Tenchi Muyo, but then I rethought it over. Well, I wanted to keep it in current time, so Future Foundation. So, more or less, that's the crossover so far. Global threat, team that doesn't like two teams that don't like each other, but have to come over adversity, their separate adversities, to take on an enemy. More or less your basic team-up crossover. No time no alternate dimension, no relatives, no secret relatives, no cloning. Your basic superhero team-up. I know that sounds basic, but sometimes basic is good. So, more or less, that's the idea so far. What do you guys think of this idea? Do you like it? Would you guys want to read it? Let me know what you think. I'm curious to know. What do you guys really want to see? Would you guys really be interested to see Tenchi Muyo and the Future Foundation team up? And also, if you guys have, since this is still in the early stages of, this is still in the early stages, I'm free to open suggestions. I mean, don't personal message me about the suggestions, but if you guys want to leave comments below or video response on what else you would like to see, or what else do you think should happen in this crossover, I'm open to suggestions. Like I said, I completely retooled one story into something completely different, so at this point, and in fact, this is the first time I've ever asked help on stories, but I'm curious to know, since I don't think anyone's thought about this crossover. So I'm open for suggestions, and only this crossover. I don't want random suggestions for Hellsing and Iron Man and all that. Just this story, and it. So please, that'd be nice. But anyway, I'm out.